It's back! The Premier League is back. Thankfully, we can all start watching some proper football. The Bundesliga came back, of course, but for me, it just wasn't the same. I watched one game and I was like, not really bothered. I'm going to be looking at the pros and cons for the Premier League restarting. I'm going to be starting to look at the table, seeing who could go down, who could win the title. I think it's pretty clear to see, but we've got to look at the top four and Europe as well. There's so much to talk about, and we can actually finally get some football back, and we can see Villa get relegated. Come on! I mean, to be fair, you know what they're like. They're going to get out of it, aren't they? They're jammy sods. So, let's get into it. Oh, hold on. A bit of 90s football? I think so. Glad I got that notification. Let's go. England v Germany I'm going for. Shearer getting the goal in the 3rd minute, but let's not think about what happened for the rest of the game, shall we? Let's see if I can recreate this. I can't be wearing this. Hold on. That's more like it, I think.
Corner. Taken by Gascoigne. Here it comes now. And a goal! England score! Alan Shearer from the flick on!
So if you are reliving the Euros with ITV and OneFootball, make sure you recreate your favourite goal. I will be showcasing some of the best ones on my Instagram. Upload them to TikTok as well. And if you haven't followed me on TikTok yet, make sure you do. It's just at BrummyJoe. But thanks to OneFootball for that, and let's get into the video. Also, after I've recorded this video, the Championship has been announced that it's going to be resuming on the 20th of June. So I will be doing another video on that as well, so keep your eye out for that. So I think first and foremost, we've got to talk about the Premier League restarting and whether it is a good idea. It's definitely a controversial topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below as well. There are certainly pros and cons to it. I think ultimately it's more about money. I think that's the reason they're starting it up. I think that's the reason why when you look at the non-league ones, they were absolutely written off straight away, pretty much instantly after the announcement was made. Obviously in the Premier League there's so much more that goes on. There's so much more money involved, not just for the Premier League itself but for the clubs involved. So I'm not sure how they've gone about that, but hopefully the clubs have agreed to it. Now the question is whether the players will. You've had certain players coming out like Danny Rose, Troy Deeney. Troy Deeney has said he will not be playing. So looking at this article here, it says Troy Deeney says he will not return to training because he fears for his family's health amid the coronavirus pandemic. Just popping this in during the edit, but there has been an update saying that Troy Deeney is going to be happy to play. He just didn't want to go back to training until he was confident that the measures put in place were correct. You know, he's since spoken to government officials and stuff like that, and he is happy with it now. I'm sure other players will still have some concerns, but it looks a bit more positive. So that's the question. I don't think any Premier League club should say these players have to play. There should be enough players that are willing to. If not, then I think the Premier League needs to look at it as well and be like, is this realistic? Is this right to go ahead now? We'll have to wait and see with that. Personally, you know, across the rest of the country, you're seeing things start to open up again. People can meet in gardens, still have to socially distance. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to that R number as these things starts to happen. I think in terms of general morale for the country, a lot of people have been in lockdown for over 2 months now, and it's a little bit of an escape to be watching your team, to have something to look forward to. It can break up the week a little bit more, but I think ultimately you do have to think about people's health as well. There's that could be seen on a much bigger scale from the very top. So it's I just hope that it's done safely, but I think ultimately you are gonna come into contact with people playing football. There's no way around that. So personally, I think it's more of a money thing, but nevertheless it is going ahead. So let's have a look at the Premier League table and see what's going to happen. There were some rumours it was going to be null and void, completely scrapped. Points were going to be worked out based on previous matches. Some teams weren't happy with that. For example, Villa, who would have been relegated because they have 25 points from 28 games. But you think, you know, that they had quite a bad run of form. You can say for the whole season, but especially running up to when the Premier League stopped. But now they're going to be thinking, you know, we've got John McGinn back, a few more players back from injury. If I was them, I'd be thinking they can definitely get out of it. They've got the players for it. I think the break would do some teams good as well. Get them focused, ready to go again. Almost like the start of a new season, which is quite annoying because I do want them to get relegated. Nevertheless, let's have a look at the top of the table. I think when you look at Liverpool as well, 82 points. Man City are below them on 57 with a game in hand on them, but you've got to say it's completely out of reach from them. If results go the right way, Liverpool could potentially lift the trophy away at Everton, which would be a bit of a kick in the teeth for Everton. I think a lot of people who aren't Liverpool fans did want it to be null and void, for them to be handed the trophy, because they'd always have that on them that they actually didn't win it properly, and I think that is something that'll be a bit of a kick in the teeth for Liverpool fans. It's a shame, of course, that when they do win the title, they can't properly celebrate it. But you know, it's the first one in what, around 30 years that they will have won, but at least they'll be able to do it properly, and it will also avoid a lot of arguments with relegation as well. You're looking at teams like Norwich. I know they had a lot of injury troubles, so potentially this 2-month break could have done them some good as well, as they try to mount a great escape. I don't think it's off the cards completely for them. If Norwich were to mount a great escape, it would be a very good one. When you look at the teams they've got to play, they've got Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man United in their last 9 games, which is just, you can't see them getting enough points. They're already 6 points adrift, and you look at the teams above them and you think, are they going to drop that many points? I don't think they're gonna. Now, when you look at the Premier League table, when you look at the teams that could potentially get relegated, probably from 20th to 15th, they are all under 30 points. So when you look at the bottom of the table, there are only 4 points between 15th Brighton and 19th Aston Villa, and that's with a game in hand for Aston Villa as well. If they were to win that, there would be only 2 points between those 5 teams. When you look at those teams, I think there's a lot of competition between them. I think it's really hard to call another 2 teams to go down out of Brighton, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth and Villa. You'd think West Ham would have enough about them to get out of it. They've been underperforming all season. You'd think Aston Villa, they've got the players to do so, but they haven't been performing all season. Could it be the manager? I really don't know. Obviously, as a Blues fan, I'd want them to go down. I'd probably predict them to go down. But when you look at the, I feel like they've missed John McGinn for the majority of the season, and he is a player that can change that midfield. Like, Grealish has been pretty much carrying them, and as long as he doesn't get injured, you think they've got a good chance of getting out of it, unfortunately for everyone else in football. But then it's who I feel like Brighton could actually slip into it. I think if Villa do want to stay up, they need to sort that defence out, and you'd think with John Terry coaching them, they would be doing a little bit better than they are in that sense, but they have conceded 56 goals, which is the most out of anyone in the Premier League. Now, when you think they've got an England international, Tyrone Mings, in that back four, a number of good goalkeepers, I don't know why, but let's hope it continues. Yeah. Anyway, it's hard to call, but I'm gonna say Norwich, Bournemouth and Brighton to slip down. Even though Brighton have got the points advantage at the minute, they've got a couple of tough games coming up, so if they are to get out of it, they need to win those games against the teams around them, and I think they're going to be the ones that really define who stays up and who goes down. And when you're looking at the Champions League places, you've got Wolves, who have always been in with a sniff of it. Sheffield United have been floating around there a little bit at the start of the season. They've been really exceeding expectations. It'd be interesting to see if they can get a Europa League place, but I think you've got to look at Man United here. They are sat 5th in the table at the minute, and they have been really improving recently. They've started the season, they spent the first half of the season, for me, I think, as just this team that's like, it's not Man United, it's not the Man United you know. They've been underperforming, they've been difficult to watch, but recently they've started to turn it around, and I do think that they will be able to push above Chelsea. Chelsea had a bit of a better start to the season, and I think they're going to slip out of it towards the end. Still getting a Europa League place. I mean, you look at Arsenal and Tottenham, and you think they've got to be around there, they've got to be getting involved, but they've been underperforming so much. I think for me, it's going to be dependent on what this break has done for the teams. It's like when you're playing a game and you're waiting for half-time. This break in the Premier League season has been like half-time. Sometimes you've got the momentum, you don't want half-time to come, you're going to score that goal. Other teams, they're holding on by the skin of their teeth. Aston Villa, for example, they want half-time to come, they've got it. Now coming back out, it's like, okay, how have you used that time? How have your players been maintaining their fitness? How have they been maintaining their tactical training? Who's going to be able to bounce back and hit the ground running? And I think that's really hard to call. You've got to look at it as well. Which players are going to be up for it? Which players are going to be mentally not the same, because they could be worrying about potential things, maybe not wanting to play, maybe feeling like they're being pressured a little bit. I don't know, but there's a lot of different factors to your standard prediction. And what I want to know is who's going to get a Champions League place, who's going to get the Europa League, who's going to win the title. Although it's definitely Liverpool, isn't it? But mainly, who are the 3 teams that are going to go down? That's what I want to know from you. Let me know down in the comments below. But I hope you've enjoyed the video anyway. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell so you're informed of every time I upload. Make sure you follow me on Twitch as well. I'm streaming daily at the minute while I'm on furlough. So 2 PM every weekday we've got the Solihull Moors career mode. So check it out. It's twitch.tv/BrummyJoeHD. But until next time, I'll see you in a bit.